Rudd said yesterday the players were thinking of themselves. What did you make of what he had to say?
Look, I think that's accurate. Yeah, I don't think we're certainly not happy with how we played yesterday. We didn't feel there was a great deal of synergy between the playing group, and certainly didn't feel there was a hell of a lot of resilience. So it was a disappointing effort, but the good thing about footy is you get another chance to butter up and do something about it, and we get the chance next week against Melbourne. Yeah, perhaps, but I think also that the style of game across the AFL is becoming more and more uniformed. I mean, it's only recent that all the teams have begun pressing. Up until a year or two ago, there were still sort of teams playing man-on-man and different styles of footy. So, I mean, I think the style of games, full stop, is getting more and more similar. Yeah, well, I haven't seen him yet, so I don't know how bad the damage is, but it certainly didn't look good. And that's a huge loss for us, and another challenge. I think what you've seen at other sides and what you see every year when really important players go down is it does open the door for other players to stand up. And if you look at what's happened at Collingwood with Beams and Sidebottom since Bawley went down, that's been really important for their group. So it gives the opportunity to someone else to stand up, and hopefully we've got a player that takes that opportunity with both hands. No, I didn't notice a difference from other games in that area. I noticed the fact that we were soundly beaten, but not a real tactical difference. Yeah, I think what often gets spoken about in not just in the media, but in football clubs or in general conversation, things like cohesion or resilience get spoken about like they're permanent, when really there's something that has to be earned week in and week out. So we didn't earn that as a group on the weekend, but as I said, we get the opportunity to do that this week. But it's not a God-given right that if you've had it for X number of weeks, will you have it for the next 16 or 20? It's something that you've got to earn week in and week out, and we certainly didn't do that yesterday. Yeah, look, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, they're all sort of words for the same thing. We were second to the ball, and we didn't run as hard as Adelaide, and we didn't win contested footy as well as Adelaide, and that's in all the different lines. We got smashed at stoppages. So yeah, there's going to be all sorts of different adjectives to sum up the same thing, but it was certainly a disappointing game. Yeah, look, their tackle pressure was very good, and that was an important part of the result as well. No, look, there's not, and it's not something that's come up or been spoken about, but without giving it a heap of thought, I think we probably have played our best footy at the G in the last 18 months, and certainly the games are different at Etihad Stadium to the MCG. The ball travels a lot quicker.
So at Etihad or at the G?
At Etihad it travels a lot quicker, and probably it provides more of a counter-attack game at Etihad Stadium because the ball can travel so quickly, and you can use your foot skills to hit up uncontested marks if your team's running hard enough. Much easier than you can at the MCG when you've got wind and the elements to deal with. So it does stand for different styles of game, and whether that's something we have to look into, it may be. Look, I think it's never going to be just one thing. So it's always a combination of lots of things. But that may be an issue, and I don't know the answers, to be honest. But that may be an issue. We've certainly lost some important players, and there's probably some players that appear to be down on confidence. So it's probably a host of factors. But it's certainly something we need to rectify, and something I'm confident we will rectify this week. Hasn't affected me. No, it shouldn't affect the playing group because expectation comes with being a good football side. So if you don't want the expectation, well, the answer's simple: just don't win any games, and there'll be no expectation. So we don't want to run away from that. If anything, we want to embrace it and hope that there is some expectations, and we really have high expectations of one another and of the footy club internally as well. So I don't think that's a factor. No, look, I don't think Bryce has an issue with confidence. He had a quiet game yesterday, but certainly I think before that he'd been in good form, particularly down back at the start of the year. He was in red hot form. So, generally people's memory in AFL is about 2 weeks. So as I said, we don't need to get sucked into thinking that the world's falling apart. We've got some things we need to work on and some things we need to fix, and we'll do that this week. Just go through the same sort of thing. So we'll review the game, we'll learn from our mistakes, we'll commit to doing something about it, and then we'll play this week. So it's a standard sort of protocol. And we'll just keep things pretty simple, I'd imagine. There's lots and lots of things we didn't do right yesterday, but there's no use spending a lot of time on small ticket items. Do you know what I mean? If each line fixes up the one or two big ticket items for that line, if individuals review their game, look at what they didn't do well, and put in a plan of what they're going to do to change that during the week on the track, that's what we'll do, and we'll move forward. No, one of the big ticket items would be stoppages, and I would say defensive transition for the midfield. They'd be the two biggest ticket items that I'll be pushing this week for the midfield group. And not winning the ruck comes under, stoppage work, but that's sort of one of the smaller items that we'll focus on the whole stoppage and worry about that later on. Yeah, I think that's probably happening a bit more across the competition, particularly teams with slower midfields. And Adelaide certainly don't fit in that category. But it makes sense to have your speed where the players aren't. So if you've got a slow midfield, it makes sense to congest it with a lot of numbers and put your speed at the bookends of the field where there is space. So that's happening a bit in the competition, but I didn't think there was an excessive amount of numbers at the stoppages yesterday. No, look, I thought we'd miss him because he's a really good player and a good leader of our footy club. So he's out there doing some training today and he's feeling pretty good within himself. So look, it'd be great to have him back, but we don't want to get caught up in either just saying we've got some good players out and woe is me, that's why we're not playing how we'd like to be. We expect the players that come into our side to be well drilled enough and fit enough and strong enough to play their roles, and that's really what's expected from them going forward. Yeah, look, I think we could do more to help Murph out when he gets tagged, but I've seen him tear taggers to shreds many times in the past. So it's not like it's something he's not capable of doing. But look, obviously he'll have a bit of time out to think about it. But he's a great player for us, and we look forward to getting him back.